Well, that was interesting. My stream was knocked off due to either a copyright notice or someone filed a complaint. That's a nice. Thank you very much. I'm not sure what the hell happened there, but I guess the liberal left were so endangered by a video of a pistol lying on a table that somebody actually filed a complaint, and I was immediately knocked off the air. So super awesome. I don't know. I've got one viewer now. I don't know. Is that alive again? Yeah, whoever it is. Anyway, good seeing you again. So yeah, sorry about that stream going down, but here we are. At any rate, so like I was saying, ammunition for this thing is a bit of a pain in the ass because commercial ammunition is hard to get because not many people are importing this particular caliber. And it's expensive. And I've only fired 1,080 rounds out of this. Or I could go the route of Chinese surplus ammunition for it, but the lowest volume that you can buy it in is 1,260 rounds, which is more than I've ever actually put through this rifle, or this pistol. I don't know why I keep saying rifle. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what I want to do with this thing. I do have some non-corrosive ammunition, Cellier and Ballot I bought last year. But what I wanted to do with this was actually shoot it in Steel Challenge this coming summer. So I needed ammunition for it. It's just rather difficult to buy. Sorry, I took a sip of my coffee. Anyway, you didn't tune in here for me chatting about all this nonsense. So today's cleaning kit is courtesy, well, not courtesy, it's not like they provided it to me, of Pro Shot. I'm not entirely sure which way this is angled for you on air. But anyway, I am using a Pro Shot gun cleaning kit. This was it's a 9mm kit, really, although it says 10mm on it. But I use this for all my pistols. I really like Pro Shot products. I think they make great stuff. You get everything you need in one single package. Silicone cloth. This is from my Kimber. That doesn't come standard. Glad you got back on. Yeah, apparently the notice said that I was either my stream was terminated because I'd either violated copyright, okay, or someone actually complained. They filed a complaint. So I don't know, maybe the liberal left is terrified of seeing a pistol on screen. Anywho, so yeah, good to be back on. So yeah, anyway, I'm using a Pro Shot pistol. Yeah, YouTube. Oh, you know what? Don't even get me started on YouTube because I could rant on, and perhaps afterwards I will in fact rant, but until then. Yeah, so anyway, a Pro Shot kit. I really like these Pro Shot pistol kits. Everything that you need is in there, and it's pretty good quality components. I find Pro Shot stuff to be actually pretty darn good and not terribly expensive. And I think which brush do I use for this one? I think I use or do I even have a brush? Yeah, must be one of these. Anyway, less talking, more rocking. We got pistols to clean, or a pistol anyway to clean, and I'm just yammering on. No one cares, redneck. Just get to the whole point of it. All right. Oh, we got our pistol. Is this reversed for you guys? Because on my screen here, watching it, it's actually in reverse, which is weird. It's kind of hard to actually get my bearings. Oh, this isn't the one I use. You know what? Let's make it easy on ourselves. I'm going to actually use the genuine TT33 cleaning jag, or cleaning rod anyway. Yeah, so anyway, YouTube is what it is. That's all I'm going to say about that. They're definitely anti-gun, no question about it, but they apply their rules so, I'm not even sure how to put it. They it's all bots. So, you know, you could go years with a video that's fine. And then all of a sudden the algorithm decides, sorry, your video is whatever, you know, whatever they don't like about it. Anywho, less talking. All right. So the first step is to push this clip back, which allows the slide stop to be removed. I should do that so you can actually see it. Like I said, very easy pistol to disassemble, which say what you will about the commies. They absolutely made sure that even the dumbest peasant or redneck preppy could actually disassemble their firearms and clean them. So God bless Soviet communism. I mean, even the trigger pack just, I was about to say, comes out easily. Now for some reason, there we are. There you go. You've got yourself a field stripped TT33. You didn't even have to work for it. Let me just get a cleaning rag here. Should have been a little more ready. Oh, all right. Y'all can talk in the chat there. Ask questions. Tell me I'm an idiot. Whatever it may be. I'm good with it all. This pistol's actually not particularly dirty because I think I did clean it some months back after I brought it back from there. Oh, well, look at that carbon on it. Well, couldn't be that clean then. Hey, how about them American election results from earlier this week? Holy cow. Red not wave. I was really quite surprised. I had expected much better from the GOP on Tuesday night. And when I didn't even bother watching the election coverage. When I got up Wednesday morning, sorry, and went on Fox News, I was like, huh? What? What do you mean? Why are all these D names with the check mark? So yeah, terribly sorry to hear about that, man. Like, I really expected a little bit more this coming term. And, you know, the question that I have to raise then is, what does this mean now for Donald Trump? Because a lot of people were saying, had the red wave actually happened, that it would have reinforced Trump running again in 2024. But with MAGA apparently a failure, at least during the midterms, does that mean now that Trump doesn't run in 2024? Is MAGAism a spent force? And by definition, the Tea Party, because MAGA is, I guess you could say, an inheritor of the Tea Party movement from, you know, years back. So yeah, that's kind of interesting, man. Like, the election results really, really surprised me. I expected a lot more on Tuesday. Carrie Lake got elected, so I mean that's good. I was kind of rooting for her just because the media was seemingly just after her. I guess as an ex-journalist who dared to be a Republican, although I think she's a former Democrat. So not that that means anything. I mean, let's be honest. Ronald Reagan was a former Democrat, and I mean, he was a bit of a mixed blessing in some ways, but you know, he was probably the greatest president, at least of my lifetime. Of course, I'm a Canadian, so it doesn't really matter. But you know what? Hey, funny story. As a kid, I was kind of weird in some ways. And when I was, oh gosh, it was during his first term, I actually wrote to the White House. And I said how happy I was he was the president and all that stuff. I mean, at that age, I was probably like 11 or 12 years old. I didn't know shit about politics, but I liked Ronald Reagan. And my dad, who was a trade unionist, you know, construction worker and all that stuff, he loved Ronald Reagan as well. So anyway, I wrote Ronald Reagan in the White House, and the White House actually sent me an autographed picture of Ronald Reagan, and I still have it to this day. In fact, it's in the filing cabinet next to me. Maybe I'll pull it out later and y'all can see it. It's a famous picture. It's of him with a a field of American flags behind them. They're not, well, darn. I cleaned this a couple months ago. Really? It's a good thing I'm not still in the army because I would have been murdered for that. Private. So you getting the new Frankfurt Arsenal X10? I don't even know what that is. Apparently I'm not up to speed on that. What is the X10? I would look it up right now, but now my hands are all coated with cleaning products. The X10. I can't say I even heard about it. In fact, the only new product I heard about today was apparently Lee is releasing a new progressive loading press. Really? Well, the biggest nightmare that I ever have is when I'm reloading 223, because all I have is a single stage press, which is like about, I don't know, 2-3 feet away from me. And I reload both 223 and 45 ACP on a single stage press because I hate myself. So I have been thinking about getting a new progressive press. Yeah, I'll look at it. I like Frankfurt Arsenal stuff. I never really had a bad experience with it. I know that they're, maybe not the biggest name in reloading presses. When you think of, quality reloading presses, you've got your usual suspects, right? Team Blue, other Team Red. That's not Lee, But I'll look at it. I'll take a look and find out what it's about. And I don't know, maybe I will. I would like a new press, and give me a chance to do a video, right? Review video of a new press, which I've never done. I've never done a review video of a press. A lot of videos on it already. Okay, well, I'll scratch that. No point in doing a video, the 6,000th video on something that everyone already can see videos on. I was going to film a video today on the Jungmann AG42B and how to disassemble it properly. Because the last time I looked at videos on that subject, they were all really old and like, I don't know, in like 240p or something like that. So I just happened to hop on early this morning and look up to see what's out there. There's like a pile of videos now, all like in 1080p, 60 frames per second, that stuff. I'm like, wow, no sense in filming that video now. I had a Lee turret press since 2005. I kind of feel upgrading soon. And it's just getting released. I had a Lee turret, a progressive actually, a couple of years ago. And I bought it specifically to load 223. I had no problems with it. But I got rid of it because we had that AR-15 ban in Canada. So I ended up selling it because I'm like, well, I'm not ever going to load 223, right? Then, of course, a year later, I end up buying an AR-180B rifle. And now I load 223 again. So I'm kicking myself for selling that because I bought it used and I had to put some money into it, new powder, feed, a whole pile of stuff to make it work properly. And because whoever owned it before me didn't give two shits about maintaining it. And once I finally got everything working properly again, yoink, sold it. And probably at a loss too. $1,000? Well, okay. Well, I guess if you want quality, you got to pay for it, right? I'll check out the videos on it. I shouldn't declare that it's quality just because it costs $1,000. But what are you doing? I was cleaning this. $1,000, but yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of money. Not as rich as I used to be. I bought lettuce today at the grocery store, and it was like $4.50 Canadian for a small head. So I felt very poor today for the first time in like 30 years. Cheaper than Dylan or others. Yeah, well, that's true. Well, then again, not a lot isn't cheaper than Dylan, right? Good reloading equipment, though. I mean, I got some Dylan stuff here. I've never had a problem with it. Dylan presses are like every press in the world. Some of them have issues, some of them don't. I'm getting a weird like artifacting on the bottom of the screen. I don't know if you guys are seeing that. It's almost like an old-timey television kind of like picture problem issue. I don't know if you guys are seeing that, but I've seen it plenty of times. In fact, it's happening again. You do. Oh, you do. Okay. All right, good. So it's not just me. I don't know what it is. I'd unplug my camera and put it in another USB port, but then I'd have to start the stream again, and we don't want that nonsense. Okay, I don't know what that is. I apologize. It's annoying the shit out of me because I'm cleaning this, and all I'm doing is I'm seeing that at the bottom of the screen. Anyway, oh my god, I cannot believe I actually cleaned this a couple of months ago, and I haven't fired it since. Like, obviously, my cleaning standards really need an upgrade. That's horrible. I'm embarrassed now. I should have said, yeah, I put like 100 rounds through this, and yeah, I haven't cleaned it since. Should have lied. But I said, no, I actually cleaned this. This probably won't be that dirty. Embarrassing. Appalling. So, funny story. Actually, it's not a funny story. A friend of mine calls me up the other day, and his father had passed away. Reminds me of cleaning the SKS, always finding more grind. It's funny you say that. If you follow me on Facebook, you know I took out my Chinese SKS today, the Type 56, and I cleaned it afterwards because I put corrosive ammunition through it. Holy shit, I should try and find the rag I used to clean it because it was black afterwards. It was unbelievable. And no matter how much I cleaned it, I always seem to find more grime, just like you said. Anyway, sorry. A friend of mine, his dad passed away a couple of years ago, and my friend was kind of like the pseudo executor of the state. So he took over his dad's firearms. Now, after some family members took what they wanted, he was left with three items. And he called me up and he said, look, Redneck, I don't have my firearms license. The estate is essentially closed. You know, I got to get rid of these firearms. Can you keep them for me? I said, yeah, no problem. It's all good. So he brought them over last night, and I started looking through them. And the first one was a Model 60 Cooey. It's a tube-fed 22, made by the Cooey company, as the name suggests, which is now defunct. I think Savage bought them way like decades ago. Anyway, they were a famous Canadian firearms manufacturer anyway, and they made the decent, but like budget, I guess, if you could say, firearms, mostly 22s. I'm like, okay, it might get some money because the bluing was fantastic on it. No damage to the stock. The stock was great. I'm like, there are people who love the old Canadian firearms because, patriotism and all that stuff. And then I open up the second case, and there's a Lakefield Mossberg 500E pump action 410. And I was like, Lakefield Mossberg. I had no idea the two companies were connected in any way. I guess Mossberg asked Lakefield to make these under contract. And Lakefield, if you're not familiar, is another Canadian company that manufactured firearms. Again, mostly 22s, but also shotguns. They're defunct. I don't think anyone bought them out. I think they just went out of business. So it was a pump action 410. I go, and again, bluing fantastic, wood great. I was like, okay, probably get some decent money for this. It was the third case I opened where I just said, oh my. I have a Model 64 Cooey and I have a Lakefield. My first 22 was actually a Lakefield Mark II. I love that 22. I mean, it wasn't particularly accurate, but man, it was fun to shoot. I really enjoyed shooting it. So I looked at this rifle that I pulled out, and I immediately knew that this thing was something special. It was a carbine length 30-06, and I wasn't familiar with it, but I looked at the side and it said Steyr Daimler Puch AG. And I was like, holy shit, this is a Steyr. Turn it over, it's got a Stoeger mark, so it was imported by Stoeger. And I look at the action itself. It's got a Mauser action, but a little bit different. There was some different parts about it. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. I look it up online. I do some research, and it turns out it was a Mannlicher Schoenauer M1956 Monte Carlo. It has a rotary magazine, which you don't really see that often in any firearm. and it had a Leupold scope base, and it had a Bushnell Sky Chief, yeah, Scope Chief. That's what it was. Scope Chief number 4 scope on it in a 1.5 to 4.5 variable, which they made those between 79 and 84. I'm like, holy shit, man. Like, his dad had some good taste. Bushnell back then in the late 70s, early 80s made pretty well regarded scopes. Leupold base, enough said. But the rifle itself, a Steyr, and it was made in 1956, first year production year rifle. I was like, holy mother of Christ, this thing is going to be worth paper. And I look it up online, and in the United States, because I couldn't find any Canadian auctions, they were selling for, in some cases, $1,500 to $1,800, and I was shocked. I was like, this is a lot more than I thought, these rifles are going to be worth. His dad had good taste, and he owned his own business, and he treated himself properly when it came to stuff. So anyway, I brought it all to the gun store today, and I ended up getting a pile of cash for all of these. I could see the owner, because I put them in order. I gave him the 22 first, the 410, and then I gave him the Mannlicher Schoenauer. And every time his eyes kind of opened, but he was trying to hide his excitement, because these were all quality firearms. They were all in great shape and great condition. And when he saw the Schoenauer, he was just like, I was like, oh yeah. I knew right there that he was going to buy it. So anyway, I got my friend a great pile of cash, which made me feel really good. He was happy. He goes, I didn't think I was going to get anything. I thought I was going to maybe get a couple $100. I didn't really go too deep into the conversation with him, because I was busy negotiating for him. But when I see him tomorrow night, I'm going to tell him, like, dude, yeah, you had something special there, because that's a great rifle. I wish he'd kept it, to be honest with you, because it was his dad's. But I mean, he's not a gun owner anymore. He doesn't have a license, so legally, it would have been difficult for him to be able to own those unless he went through the whole licensing process. And he didn't really have any interest in that. It was almost like he was trying to give me this stuff. But I mean, they're sporting arms. I don't have much use for them, so it was generous of him to offer. But I thought, if I can get him money for this stuff, I will. I wish I could find a 303 no-go gauge. Really? I'd be surprised you couldn't find them at Brownells. Brownells usually has a lot of stuff like that. Brownells, Numeric. Try Numeric. I find Numeric is usually pretty good when it comes to that sort of goofball stuff. Are you in Canada or the United States, Corbin? Might be bizarrely, it might actually be more easy to find this stuff in Canada. Oh god, I can't get anything. Saskatchewan. Oh, okay. You try Marstar? Because I know Marstar often has a lot of that kind of weird stuff. I don't know where in the hell they get it from, but oftentimes you can find that stuff there. Okay, well, clean enough anyway. I always kind of laugh at the, let's see if I can get in there, CCP logo. Just a little reminder about who made these things. The godless communists. My dad actually carried one of these when he was in the Yugoslav army, because they actually adopted that pistol as well. So I've looked everywhere, even under a rock. Well, that kind of sucks. You know what? Leave a comment below when this video goes on the page, and I'll look for one, see what I can do, because I know some of the stores around me carry like goofball shit. And who knows, maybe I can find something for you, and then I'll just message you through YouTube and see if I can actually and get it out to you. No promises, but oftentimes I find that I come across really weird stuff. I don't even own one. So maybe I can do double duty and get myself one too. Like I said, no promises. The local gun store I have, he's a milsurp guy. Loves milsurps. I've actually bought a pile of stuff from him over the years. And the kind of things that he has occasionally amaze me. Yeah, out here in Saskatchewan, there's not much. Yeah. Well, you know what? Even in Ontario, my friend, it's not like it used to be. There was a time when we had like 4 or 5 gun stores in the city that I live in. And these days, we got one dedicated gun store, one outdoor store which sells guns, Canadian Tire, which increasingly doesn't want to sell guns. Is there anybody else? Yeah, one Canadian Tire doesn't even sell firearms anymore. The other one sells them. Yeah, there's not much. And I think there's like a pawn shop that sells them. But other than that, yeah, it's brutal. Ontario is not as bad as you think, though. I mean, it could always be worse, I suppose. Yes, I believe in a liberal application of cleaning solvent. Oh, my. Oh, I should stop doing that right now. Oh. Are these not 30 cal? Oh, man. Ha! Oh, wait a minute. They are. These are in... Oh, these are the patches I use for 45 ACP. No wonder. It's like, what the hell is going on? Why the hell are these things so freaking tight? Let me get some patches which actually fit. It's like, what the hell is going on there? All right. There we are. That could have been catastrophic. Or at least a pain in the ass. No pun. I can be quite punny when I want to be. Ho, ho, ho. Okay, so let's try that again. One that'll actually fit. Oh, look at that. Oh, perfection. In fact, perfection is crap next to this. This is vaguely pornographic. I've never done this on video camera before. Wow, I'm actually embarrassed because I cleaned this before I put it back in the safe. I had fired Salya and Balot non-corrosive ammunition through it. And this is embarrassing. I'm appalled. Normally I clean much better. Hey, for the Canadians who are watching, make sure to check out the CCFR's latest podcast, which went live a couple of hours ago. The Liberals apparently went absolutely apish during the SECU hearings, the ones for the firearms, Bill C-21. And they just absolutely embarrassed themselves. And there's some other good gun news too. We actually won a court case this week, Canadian gun owners. It's a bunch of guys, 4 of them, who are basically self-funding their own lawsuit. They don't have a lawyer. And sorry, I got to take a sip of coffee here. So they're self-funding their own lawsuit, and they've gotten to the Ontario Supreme Court where they won this week. Because the government, when they sent out the orders basically banning ARs and a bunch of other rifles, said that our certificates were nullified. And the judge basically said, can you tell me where in firearms law the term nullified is? Because, I mean, this is a legal document that the government was sending out to gun owners. And the government kind of argued some bullshit that while these weren't really revocation certificates, it was an information notice, which if the government's emailing or sending you a letter saying, we're banning your rifle, it's not information notice, they are actually telling you you're not allowed to own an AR-15. So they won this week again, and they're allowed to have their Section 71 hearing, or 74, I can't remember which one it is, hearing in front of the court. Now the government is going to appeal this decision because it's the government and they have an inexhaustible pool of money to screw Canadian gun owners with. But it goes to show you that, you know what, never give up. It's like that video I released a couple months ago where, I decried people who said, what's the point? Why buy this? Because the government's going to ban it or whatever it is. These guys prove that they fought and they've won so far. They've defeated government lawyers, heavily funded government lawyers with access to everything. These four guys like me, guys and gals like you, beat the government in 2 court cases now. And this is going to go to the Supreme Court. And I'm sure there are more than a few gun lawyers in Canada who are going to be helping them out if they actually end up having to go to the Canadian Supreme Court. So don't ever give up. Don't ever black pill yourself and say, what's the point? The government's only going to ban it, or it's the government. What can I do? These guys proved that you can actually fight and win. So God bless them. I've donated money, not to them, but to another guy who's fighting a similar challenge. And God bless them. And they're also going without a lawyer because they can't afford it, even with all the donations that they're getting. Lawyers are expensive. So, but it just goes to show you, man, that you know what? Nothing is a given. I'm sure the government thought, because I know what the government's doing. A friend of mine who's fighting these cases is saying that the government is dragging this out as long as possible because the government can afford to spend as much money as they want. But these guys, they're running through their own personal money, but they're winning. Don't ever give up. I hate people who give up. I'll tell you a story one day about when I was in the Army about not giving up. But anyway, that's another day. And if you weren't here earlier, I did wish all veterans in the Commonwealth and in the United States, well, not wish them, but thank them for their service in the cause of liberty. God bless you guys. I'm sorry that this is the country, our countries that you ended up fighting for, the state of the country that is today, that you guys fought for, because, I'm pretty sure that you guys didn't think this is what you were going to get when you fought Hitler or whoever so many years ago. Can't believe what this country has become. And even the United States too. Everything's going to shit. Sorry, I'm editorializing. Can you tell I'm in a pissing mood tonight? Come on, Corbin's the only one who's putting words up in the chat there. Feel free to make a comment or whatever it is in the chat. Ask a question. Tell me I don't know how to clean a pistol properly. That's likely true. Sorry, took another sip of coffee there. Well, I guess I'm pretty much done. Oh, I actually didn't clean this yet. Words are hard. Yes, they are. Is that a Narenko? Hell no, friend. This is a genuine 1947. I don't know if you can see the date here. I guess I shouldn't be putting my serial number up on screen, but whatever, I don't care. 1947 Soviet issued TT33. You will never, ever, ever get me to buy a Narenko TT33, and I'll tell you why. Coincidentally enough, I was at the range about a month ago, and I don't remember what I was shooting. I think my AR-180, and a guy had just bought one of these a couple of months ago. I think it was August, and he's shooting it, and all of a sudden he stops shooting, and he walks over to me with his pistol, and he goes, "Hey, can you take a look at my handgun?" I'm like, "Sure." And I'm looking at the top of his pistol, and right here, hold on, let me get this. Right here, it had cracked all the way back. And I was like, "Oh, I see your problem right there." He goes, "Yeah, I was feeling really weird when it was cycling. Like it almost seemed like," I can't remember exactly how he described it, but he noticed there was a difference while it was cycling around. and it actually had cracked like about an inch on the top of the slide. So I was like, nope, never buy a freaking Norinco modern production firearm. I did almost buy a Norinco M14 a couple of years ago, but it was like an early production one. It had a wood stock. It looked good. It was a good firearm. But and there was one time some guy was trying to sell me a Norinco M1911 A2 clone. I just racked the slide and it felt like fucking sandpaper. This was a brand new handgun. I was just like, nope, thanks. Oh dang, original Russians one are hard to find, get here. Yeah, a Polish clone. The Polish ones are good. There's no knock on the Polish ones. I like the Polish TT33 clones. I don't remember what they were called. WZ. Shoot, now I don't remember what they were called, but they're a good pistol. I would, if somebody said you can't have this, but you can have a Polish one, I'm cool. No problem there whatsoever, because they are pretty darn well built. I really can't believe that I actually cleaned this before. But yeah. Well, I mean, who's importing the Russian ones anymore, right? They're unobtainium. But I addressed that in a video a couple of months ago, the plight of the importers. There's just basically no firearms left to import, and what ones there are, they know what they got, and the countries aren't selling them cheap anymore with all the ammunition that you can crate away. I was told by someone who was an industry insider that companies were basically getting surplus rifles like Mosins and SKSs and all that stuff for basically $15 a rifle. $15. And then they were selling it to us for, back in the cheap days, what were they, like $100 for a Mosin or whatever it was? I can't remember. But countries aren't doing that anymore because they know that a Mosin now in Canada goes for what, like $500 now or whatever it is, $600. I can't remember. An SKS 45, a Russian one in Canada, goes for $600. A Chinese one goes for $500. Not sure why there's a huge price differential between those two, but yeah, now go buy one. Yeah, you don't have to tell me, believe me. I'm in the same market as you guys, and I remember being able to buy a Yugoslav M48 Mauser for a couple of $100 a few years ago, and I got a flyer yesterday from Firearms Outlet trying to sell one for $750, and I was like, what the hell? And I had no interest in it. As much as I want to buy one because my dad was in the Yugoslav army, I just cannot justify spending $750 on a Mauser action rifle, which is essentially a Kar 98K, and I got one already. So why do I want another rifle that looks pretty much the same? Russian handguns haven't been imported into the U.S. since the 90s. Rifles and shotguns since about 2014 or so. Yeah, that's true because of the ban there. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird that in Canada we can import, buy, and sell Russian firearms, but the United States you can't. It's kind of weird. So I always laugh when people laugh at Canadian gun laws. I go, at least we can buy SVT 40s. Like, you guys are spending like fucking $2,000 on one now, and we can get them for, $800, which is still a hell of a lot more than they used to cost not that long ago. Look at that. Could you honestly believe that I cleaned this? I'm sorry, I hate to sound like I'm repeating myself, but I'm very embarrassed right now. I'm actually very embarrassed. But we got the, I don't know if we have an ammo ban in Canada, because I haven't seen any Barnoul ammunition in a while. Then again, it might all be going to the, making it for the Russian military, but I'd love an SVT 40. I'm glad I bought mine when I did. I'll tell you that much. It's a gigantic pain in the ass because the gas key in front always moves out. And that means the rifle stops cycling and I have to like fucking mortar it open again. But it's an SVT 40. So it is what it is. I could still sell that same rifle for like easily probably $900, $1,000. SVT, it's hard to tell. SVT, when I bought mine, they were $450, and I thought it was a lot of money. And I've seen them last year. I think I saw them for like $800 to $1,000 for like a common one, and for ones less common, like I don't know, made at Tula, I guess. I think Tula is a less common SVT 40. They were asking like $1,200, $1,400. I was like, holy crikey, you must really want an SVT 40 to spend that kind of money on a rifle, on an SVT 40. I mean, I paid like 1,800 US. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, again, you haven't had them imported in years, right? We got the benefit of multi-years of large importations of SVT 40s and SKS 45s and all that other stuff, whereas you guys kind of, well, you were boned from it. I'm not even allowed to bring my SVT 40 Mosin or whatever to the United States if I ever were to ever move to there, because there's an importation ban. I can't even do that. That's crazy talk. But it is what it is. It is what it is. This is a CLP. Do I really need more oil on it? Nah. This will work fine. It'll be fine. One thing I like about this compared to M1911 is there's no screwery with that fucking slide stop and the idiot scratch and all that stuff. Everything just basically goes together. I think this is what, basically a Browning, a Sovietized Browning, right? One of the old Browning tilting barrel designs, except slightly less, even less complicated. Not the original Brownings were complicated or anything. I don't mean to imply that. Let's hope I can remember how to put this together. It's been a while since I assembled and disassembled one. What are you, an idiot? That was embarrassing. Well, yes, he makes videos on military surplus rifles, and he doesn't even know how to put together a simple TT33. And we listen to watch his videos. The man is a buffoon. You know what? I wonder if it's easier to put this bushing on first. I basically only shoot this like once or twice a year, so sometimes I don't remember exactly how to assemble it again. Oh, come on. All right, there we are. 1,800 though for an SVT, and that's a good deal. Madness. I don't even know who sells SVT 40s in Canada now, either Corbin. I know Marstar, which is where I bought mine years ago, often had SVT 40s, but I haven't seen any in stock in a long time. It's almost like you got to hunt local gun stores and places like that if you want to find one, because I don't think you're going to see one at a retailer anytime soon, unfortunately. But it is what it is. I warned people about this years ago. I said, friends, if you believe that this inexhaustible supply of military surplus firearms are going to last forever, you've got another thing coming. You're going to be very surprised. Oh, no. They got like millions of them still in salt mines and all this shit. I go, yeah, well, oh, you fuck you. Yeah, I said, but you know what? They can be there, but that doesn't mean they're going to be here. They're going to get expensive, and countries are going to say, hey, we're not just giving this stuff away anymore. And you know what? Who is right? An illiterate redneck preppy from northern Canada. But nobody listened. And now they can't find a damned SVT 40 to save their lives. Now I'm wondering if the jointed full-length guide rod from a Yugo Tokarev fits into the other models. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. It should. I think they were all basically made the same. I don't think there's any real difference between any of the TT33 clones. Somebody was telling me that maybe the Yugo is a slightly different one, because the Yugoslavs are a lot like the Czechs. They'll take something and tweak it a little bit, just a little bit. Because who was it? The Yugoslavs made the magazines, which have a bolt stop for AKs. Was it them? I think it was them. That was something that the Russians didn't do, but the Yugoslavs did, which is as a result meant that their early magazines didn't actually work in Soviet AKs. So how about them apples? Well, it went bang. Well, would go bang. Wonderful. So I'm not a complete useless tit when it comes to firearms assembly. Although I couldn't get the damn back of the SBT40 on today. It took me like forever. I was like, dude, you've done this like 6,000 times. How can you not actually know how to do this the first time? I've been doing it for so many years that I can barely count how many times I've done it. All right, we're gonna get out the silicone cloth. M57 Tokarev is different. One extra round in the mag, full-length guy rod. Really? Oh, okay. I did not know that. I've never actually seen a Yugo M57. I was in Yugoslavia many, many years ago and walked into a guy's house in the country, and he had more guns than some rifle platoons. It was unbelievable. Everything you could imagine. But I didn't know a lot about firearms back then. So I missed my chance to check out a Yugo M57. But my one of my relatives says they're as common as water over in Yugoslavia, or the former Yugoslav republics. Basically, everyone has one. So that's kind of cool. Never saw one, though. I've never even held one or shot one, which is crazy. I've actually held an STG 44, but I haven't held that pistol, and they made how many of them? And you can buy them in Canada, but I've never even seen one, which is crazy. Crazy to me. There, what do you think? Oh boy, that thing shines like a brand new Cadillac. And it's clean now. It's actually really clean. I do have to clean the inside these whatever you want to call them. It's not a serration, but these ribs here. I've never been able to get that gunk out of there, and I don't know what it is. One day maybe I'll take these off and then just I don't know, really go crazy on them. But other than that, would you ever consider refinishing that? Absolutely not. I'm a big stickler for historical accuracy. I don't know what these were caused by, whether it was some commie officer's holster, or maybe it was caused by someone in Canada, who knows. But I consider it to be part of the patina. So I never refinish stuff. I always leave it exactly the way it is, because I don't know. I like the fact that it's got a little bit of wear on it, You don't want a perfect woman, and you don't want a perfect military surplus rifle, as far as I'm concerned, because there are no interesting stories in either one. Whereas something that has a little bit of wear, a little bit of tear, you know that it's seen something. Whether it was just day-to-day service or whatever. As for a woman, well, okay, I'm not going to touch that one. I've already had one stream struck down today. I don't need two of them struck down. Oh. All right. Well, I didn't think this was actually going to last an hour, but here we are. Where is it? And now here is where Americans are going to laugh. Yep, the old trigger lock. Oh, wrong side. I keep trigger locks on mine. I'm not worried about home invasions, even though I live in a shit neighborhood. There you go. There you go. One TT33 cleaned. Smells like lemons. All right. Well, wow. Now we got 8 viewers. We got 8. Everyone showed up after I was finished cleaning the pistol. So I'll tell you what. I'll turn the camera around, and I'll chat to you directly. Seems like a thing to do. Don't want to be unneighborly. If you want to sound off where you're from in the chat section, that's cool. I know Corbin's from Saskatchewan. Hobo Factory is somewhere in Les États-Unis, as we say in Canada, or United States, as Americans seem to prefer it. I don't know where anyone else is from, so it'd be kind of cool to see where people are in fact from. All right, how am I going to get this without... Yeah, that's my desk. I've had this desk since 1984, when I was a little kid. I've just been too lazy to actually get another desk. All right, let's see here. Oh, all right, this is going to be very awkward. You're going to see this camera like turning around. I apologize. Oh, no, don't look. Don't look. Don't look. You're getting dizzy. All right. Sorry about that, folks. Didn't mean to like make you go crazy there. It was on a tripod here. Actually, you can see it. Desk tripod. And I lost 3 viewers because of that. All right. Wow, that light is really bright. What if I were to turn this light on? Nah. Anyway, nobody got nothing to say. Everyone's all silent. Might be the last stream in a while. Feel free to chat it up. It is a clean and chat. Ready for hunting? I'm not hunting this year, which is the first time in years. I typically just go partridge hunting, nothing crazy. But I just haven't felt the urge this year. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't even have my hunting license this year. Usually I get it fairly early, but I don't know. For some reason, I just didn't bother, and I'm not going. Literally, I could drive half an hour and have my choice of, game birds to catch, but I'm just not interested. I don't know why. It was a weird year for me this year. There were a lot of things that kind of happened, family-wise and just personally, and I don't know. I just kind of didn't have the urge to do a lot of things that I usually do. Hunting this year apparently is one of them. So you though? Yeah, going while you can. Good. What are you going for? What's out in Saskatchewan anyway? I have no idea what's in Saskatchewan other than wheat and the Rough Riders. The green and white, who are not in the Grey Cup this year. Or are they? I don't know. Are they still in the playoffs? I know the Alouettes are. I haven't followed the CFL much this year, which is weird. I'm a big CFL fan, but I haven't even bothered. Whitetail, moose, mule deer. I was going to say mule deer because mule deer is like a Midwestern thing. I know Americans in the Midwest go for mule deer. So that's kind of cool. A friend of mine went hunting for deer. Actually, he should be back on Tuesday or Wednesday, back to work. But I was kind of jealous. He's going for whitetail. Moose. Never went moose hunting. I walked into moose, like literally walked into a moose once, which was scary because I'm 6'2", and this thing's head was above my head. And I was like, oh, wonderful. I was hunting partridge at the time, which was wonderful. So all I had was a 12 gauge with bird shot in it. I didn't think that was going to do very much to the moose. So and then I heard behind the moose, weird calls. And I got the feeling that it was a hunter who was trying to like warn me out, get me out of there. I was like, I didn't want to be there in the first place. I'm standing face to face with a moose, which, is probably horny. I don't know. Are they banging this time of the year? I don't know. Anyway, I backed out of there as fast as I could. And then 10 minutes later, I walked into another moose, like literally walked into another moose. And it was a buck, or sorry, not a buck, a doe. The first moose was probably trying to find this moose. I found them both. I should have hooked them up together. I was like, plenty of fish for moose that day. I got 2 tags, buck and doe whitetail. Well, good luck to you, man. I really hope that you get what you can. Price of meat these days, you may as well hunt it if you can, right? Three people are watching the stream. One guy's chatting, nobody else chatting. And Hobo Factory's going in there every now and then too, so that's cool. Yeah. But I wonder if Eliza. Okay, I don't want to mispronounce it. Anyway, Eliza, she followed me on Instagram until I got kicked off of there. I don't know if she managed to find this new stream because she was on the first stream before I got booted for my copyright or complaint, whatever it was. Going with the old Savage Model 340C magazine fed 3030. Good choice. I appreciate a man who doesn't go for the usual, like Savage Access and 30-06 or something, whatever it is. Everyone hunts with the same rifle. That's at least interesting. My friend's dad, I don't know if you were here for the story I told about that man, like our Schoenhauer that oh yeah, you were here, sorry. I appreciate the fact that he hunted with that rifle. Not sure I would want to shoot a carbine 30-06, but I appreciate people who hunt with that kind of stuff, the different kind of things. That's really cool. So, hey, good luck. I hope you get something, at least one. But you got 2 tags, so hopefully you get 2 of them. I don't like. Oh yeah, that's what happens when I move my coffee cup. It occasionally goes out of focus. A right-on scope, right-on. I'm not as familiar. I'm not familiar with those. I've heard of them. I heard they're pretty good scopes, though. Yeah, yes. I can't remember where I heard them. Just this past week, somebody was telling me that they had a right-on scope on their rifle, and they said it was a pretty good scope. Great scope. Well, good, super. I can't remember what rifle that they had that they were using a right-on scope. It's like one of them old man brands, and I don't mean that dismissively. It's just those scopes that older people remember and use that everyone today is like Vortex or whatever, compatible to Vortex. I'm a Vortex guy myself. I got Vortex scopes on several rifles. I love them. So if a right-on scope is comparable to a Vortex, it's a pretty good scope. Then again, I mean, there's a huge spread between scopes in the Vortex line too, though, right? Everything from what Diamondback is the diamond, whatever is the highest end or whatever. But anyway, whatever. I keep babbling. I'm sorry. Anyway, I hope you get your deer. Hobo Factory, you hunt at all? Chime in there if you hunt, man. Canadian Tire has them here. Really? I don't know if my Canadian Tire has them. My Canadian Tire is weird. It's almost more of a department store now than it is what Canadian Tire used to be. I don't know how old you are, but I'm 51. And I remember the days when Canadian Tire was a store where people went in because they were doing things and needed tools and equipment to do things. 50, then you remember. You probably remember as well as I do when Canadian Tire was like a real store rather than you go in there to buy a Dutch oven. Somebody had to explain that to me. Not much of a hunter. I'd like to. Well, get out there. Well, what are you waiting for, man? Just do it. I don't know what the requirements are where you are, but take whatever courses you need and get your license and go out there and hunt. You don't have to hunt, Sasquatches. Go out for birds. That's what I do. I'm not a big hunter myself, to be honest with you. If you were to ask me my loves in order, it's like fishing, shooting, jeeping, reloading, and then maybe hunting at the end. But I still try and get out there. Obviously not this year, though. 50. Yeah, I miss the old Canadian Tire. Americans don't know about the old Canadian Tire. I figure it's Annie. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I think you might have pressed return earlier on that one. An important skill. Yes, well, it is. You know, I posted a little meme on Facebook a couple weeks ago where I basically said, don't die before you take your own food. You know, be able to, actually provide for yourself, you know. And it's a great way. Like to me, like hunting is a walk in the woods. And if I have managed to get something, great. If I don't, shit happens. So, you know, but it is a great skill to have. It's very important. And there are a lot of very great skills to have. Our tire is still kind of old school, even though it's a big new one. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. We had a legit old school Canadian Tire in our downtown core, but ended up closing up, and they turned it into ironically a Tim Hortons. And then the one we have like 3 or 4 of them in this city, and one of them moved to a new store, and it got very department store-ish. And then the other one is like anti-gun. I don't know who owns it, but they announced they weren't selling guns anymore, which kind of blew. And then I don't know about the other one. I've never been there, but it kind of sucked. But I was greatly disappointed. Also disappointed because I had a chance to date the owner's daughter in university of the one of the Canadian Tires, and today I'd be much better off than I am today economically. It's a license to print money owning one of those things, I think. That's the way of all stores, though. Unless you're like Princess Auto or Harbor Freight or whatever, where you just you've got your business and that's what it is. The guy at ours teaches PAL and RPAL. For Americans, PAL and RPAL, those are the licenses that we have for guns. Possession and acquisition license, and that allows you to own non-restricted firearms, which is basically anything with a barrel length over 18 inches, and there's other stuff in there. And RPAL is a restricted PAL, which allows you to own handguns and firearms deemed to be restricted in nature. That used to be the AR-15, that's now prohibited, but it's anything with, at its simplest level, it's rifles with a barrel length shorter than, I think it's 18.6 inches. Don't quote me on that one. I'm a little hazy right now. So anyway, yeah, okay, well, that's good that they teach those courses at Canadian Tire. Ours don't. They're not anti-gun, but they're not like supportive of the gun community. You know, whenever we have events at our range, they're never a sponsor. But we can get Stoger to be a sponsor, you know, or Vortex. We can get those as sponsors, but we can't get our local Canadian Tire. It's appalling. And yet, but they're more than willing to sell us a box of 30-06 for $50. So don't forget the criminal check we get every morning at 10 a.m. Yes, if you are a restricted firearms license holder in Canada, so handguns and short length centerfire rifles and that stuff, you're run through what's called CFIS, which is the Canadian, or is it CPIC? Canadian Police Investigation Computer or something like that. I don't remember the exact title. You're basically run through every day. And if there's any criminal incidents that you're involved with, you'll get a call from the police or from the RCMP, the Canadian Firearms Center, asking you about what happened. Why were you in contact with the police? Even a PAL. Really? Oh, okay. I thought it was just an RPAL, but so yeah, being a firearms owner in Canada is a fantastic feeling if you're into not misogyny. What do you call that when you beat yourself? Whatever. Anyway, yeah, it's awful. This country has changed so much from when I was a kid. I know everyone always says, back in my day, kids used to ride the school bus with their rifle and go to school with it for hunter safety afterwards. I remember that when I was in high school, right? So the mid 1980s, that was a thing. So if you're younger than that, it's not bullshit. It really happened. And now this country is becoming increasingly anti-firearms, less so outside of like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, those Montreal major metropolitan areas. It's not the country that it used to be. The hostility or the gun rack at the back of the pickup truck. Yeah. A lot of things that when, not that long ago, when I told my 20-year-old niece this stuff, she was like, I don't believe you. I'm like, it's true. Like, I remember people bringing like a 22 to hunter safety during high school in the 1980s, and no one blinked. You have to follow procedures, trigger lock, and it's in a case and all that stuff. You can't just roll in there with it over your shoulder and that. But that was a thing, and people actually did that. It wasn't not. I don't want to like make it sound like everybody walked to school with like a fucking rifle in their on their arm, but people went to hunter safety at my high school, students with a firearm. But like I said, Canada is not the country that it used to be. We used to have a tremendous and thriving gun culture. And I don't mean it in the American sense, because Americans have their own gun culture, far different from probably everybody else in the world. But Canada did have a gun culture at one point where it was, it wasn't weird to walk into a guy's house and see a gun safe, or whatever. They just have a lot of guns, mostly hunting rifles, let's be honest. Nobody looked at it twice. I remember as a kid going to a gun store and some guy had his truck door open and he pulled out his shotgun. And I just walked by him like it was the most normal thing, because it was. He was putting it back in a case so that he could bring it into the store to get repaired or something like that. You do that today, and fuck, you're gonna have a SWAT team on you in this country. It's madness, absolute madness. But that's what you get with successive liberal governments, and we also have that British heritage, for better or for worse, because handguns have been registered in Canada since I think 1923, and that's an artifact of British influences, laws, and all that stuff. Because in England they've been on handguns since the early 20th century as well, and we inherited that. So you can't have the peasants have guns, right? Even the Lord's Prayer in school is gone now. That actually happened when I was in high school. It was in the late 1980s when we lost it in Ontario. Yeah, I remember that. Remember that because I don't remember who complained, but it was some kind of court case. And then one day there was just no Lord's Prayer. It was just, oh, Canada. In my state, we have transfers go through dealers to sell the guns. Yeah, FFLs or whatever. I recall when that wasn't the case. Yeah. Yeah, you didn't have to transfer through FFLs, right? And Canada's kind of weird because we don't have to do that. Like if I were to order a gun, let's say from a store in another province, they just send it to me. They send it through the mail or a courier, whatever works best. That's it. I don't have to pay no fee to an FFL or anything like that. I just buy it. It's sent to me. It shows up at my door. I sign for it because it's usually a courier that sends it. That's it. Done. That's the weird thing. It's funny to hear Americans talk about Canadian gun laws, because in some ways we're actually less rigid than you guys are. Although in most ways, I will admit, we're completely like fucked compared to you guys. Like sometimes we make New York look like a gun lover's dream, or California. It's just kind of weird. Yeah, that's true. It's as like Corbin said, well, not as much now, because it depends on you getting your reference number from the RCMP, but that's usually fairly quick. But you can walk into a gun store in Canada with your gun license, buy the firearm, and assuming you get your reference number quickly, and it's usually a matter of a minute or two, you can literally walk out of the store at that moment. No background checks, no nothing. That's Canada. So to hear Americans laughing at Canadian gun laws, I'm like, I could walk in right now and buy a firearm, walk back out. You can't. I can get a gun sent to me from any province in Canada. Fuck, I can get it sent from the United States to my home. No problems. Don't have to go to an FFL or anything. So Canada is fucked up when it comes to gun laws, but it's not quite as bad as it is. But we are vetted every day. Well, again, that's true. Yeah, that's the one thing. We can get stuff delivered if it's on the curio and relic list. And what? Yes, that's true. Yeah. I don't have a granular knowledge of American gun laws because it's completely different to Canadian gun laws. I apologize. But yeah, I was aware of the curio and relic thing, having a curio and relic license, which is awesome. Anything that's declared CNR, you can order, you know, that's fantastic. We have kind of the same thing too. Any firearm which is older than 1898, I think, is not considered a firearm legally in Canada. So, but ours doesn't roll like yours do, because I think it's like, what, if it's 70 years old, then it's now a curio and relic or something. And that line is always moving as time goes forward. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. For us, 1898, I think they consider those to be antiques. We don't have a C and R category in Canada. It's basically, it falls into various categories of classification of firearms. You've got prohibited, which means no one is allowed to own it, except if you're grandfathered in. So there are Canadians, I know a guy who owns a fully automatic AK-47, but he owned it before, what was it, 1978 or 1979, whatever those things got banned, but he was grandfathered in. He owns it. He's got an AK-47. There's one not that far away from me right now. Most people aren't aware that it's legal to own one if you have a prohib license. So anyway, there's prohibited. There's restricted, which is rifles, like I said, barrel length and some other stuff. There's non-restricted, which is anyone with a gun license can buy. And there might be some other weird categories in there. It's called 12X. If you have like certain 12.1, which is the statute in legislation, if you have that license, you can buy that kind of firearm. So like a prohibited, I think is 12.1 or something like that. And there's a couple of different kinds of firearms. But I mean, realistically now, the only two licenses that you can get in Canada are your regular possession and acquisition license for non-restricted firearms and your restricted license for basically handguns, shorter barreled centerfire rifles, and some other stuff. It's one day I'm tempted to make a video on Canadian gun laws just to try and explain it to people exactly how Canadian gun laws actually work. Ian McCollum did do a video about it 2 years ago. A lot of this changed now with the Liberal executive. Well, you call them, and in the United States they're called executive orders. Up here they're called, gosh, I don't remember what they're called now in Canada, but they issued a bunch of them. One of them was the prohibition on AR-15s, VC-58s, M305s, bore sizes larger than a certain size, which actually screwed a lot of shotgun owners, 12-gauge owners, because they have the muzzle brakes, or not muzzle brakes, chokes removed that actually made their barrels slightly larger. Anyway, 50 years is the line. Oh, okay. And 1898 is antique. Antiques can be mailed to a private residence without any sort of license other than maybe New York and California. Like, yeah, well, what's allowed in New York and California, right? So 1898 is the antique here. Okay, so ours is antique 1898 as well, but we don't have that CNR line, which I'm very envious of. You've got M16s that walked off a base back in the 1960s, which are now CNR. Fully automatic M16s. So that's pretty cool. I know McCollum did a video on one a couple of years ago, which I thought was really cool. I'd move to the States. I would, honestly, some days. But it would have to be like a red state. Wait a minute. Red is the good one. Yeah. It'd have to be a red state. Yeah. I don't know where, though. Maybe the South or Florida. I was in Florida in June. I loved it there. Texas. Yeah, Texas is cool too. I don't know anybody in Texas, but I wouldn't mind living in Texas. Uh, Florida, I really liked when I was there. It really kind of like didn't feel abnormal when I was there. Uh, and the sheer number of Trump Pence flags made me laugh. Uh, so I know it was part of the country where, at least politically and culturally, I'd be comfortable. If you're getting tired of the BS up here. Yeah. I hear you. You didn't have to correct yourself, Jeep guy. And by the way, hello to another Jeep owner. Um, yeah, it's insane in Canada. And it doesn't show any signs of slowing down. But, and you know what? For a while, I was raging at Canada's government. But you know what? We do get the government that we deserve, right? Go Sudbury Jeeps. Damn right. Jeep guy is a chum of mine. We've jeeped together several times. So yeah, go Sudbury Jeeps. But yeah, anyway, like I was, what the hell was I saying? Oh yeah, right, moving to the United States. If I could find a job there that paid what I make now, I'd probably move. But I have no skills. Any other country, I'd starve to death. So maybe I'll stick it out in Canada. Oh yeah, right. I was ranting about the government. So we got the government that we deserve. I saw a poll just yesterday saying that a majority of Canadians would support a government mandate for masks indoors again if the government deemed it necessary. What? A majority of Canadians, at least according to this poll. I didn't actually see the numbers to vet, how reliable this poll would be. But after 2.5 years, the 2.5 years that we just went through, and all the stuff that's come out since, Canadians are ready to go back again. How can I blame the government for this? It's the Canadian people who elect this nonsense and clearly support this nonsense. Anyway, hopefully Pierre gets in. That would be a lovely thing. Absolutely lovely thing. I would be overjoyed. Problem is, I know Americans are familiar with the term, the deep state. It exists. It's not quite what I think a lot of people really think it is, though. Like, the secret government behind the government, which is acting on its own. I don't think it's organized and that stuff. But what it is, it's bureaucracy and bureaucrats who are hostile to a conservative government, who, slow walk everything that the government tries to do. And you know what? Harper found out what it was like when the government machinery behind that ostensibly is there to enact his policies and follow through with that, found out, how much the bureaucracy could put the brakes on what it was that he was trying to do. And I just wonder if Pierre Poilievre gets in, whether he's going to face the same thing. Governor Whitmer, yes, that one blew my mind that that Whitmer got reelected in there. Like, I don't know. That woman was madness personified. Like, whereas at least Trudeau smiled and ingratiated his way through COVID. Oh, we have to wear a mask and that stuff. Whitmer sounded like she was the Adolf Hitler of COVID. It was unbelievable. And she got reelected, like you said. Blown away by that. But you know what? Can you blame Whitmer? The people of Michigan voted for her. Can you blame Trudeau? The people of Canada voted for him repeatedly. They must like these crazy gun laws and this COVID mandates and this woke agenda and all that stuff. I don't care what anyone says, man. I increasingly don't blame the government. Yeah, unfortunately is right. It's, are they the symptom or the cause? I don't know. I'm not smart. So I'm not going to sit here and speculate as to the chicken egg of public policy. Are we being conditioned to this, or do we just believe it and they're reflecting what it is that we believe? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not very smart. Canada's always been pretty liberal, comparatively speaking, at least since the 1960s. In that sense, Canada was socially engineered to the left. And that was liberal governments of the 1960s, who basically decided that Canada was too English and too French, and that they were going to bring in as many immigrants as possible to change the tenor of the country. They set out to destroy as many of the English and French institutions of this country, amongst them getting rid of the flag. You know, there was no demand for a new flag, but anyway, I'm ranting now. Now I'm going crazy. You guys are going to start thinking I was drinking. Alberta and Saskatchewan are moving in the right direction. You're not separating. And you know what? There's only so much that you can do. If Trudeau decides that he's going to withhold equalization payments from you because some fundamental thing that you guys are doing that he can make an argument somehow that is anti-constitutional or outside of your mandate, what are you going to do? You can't survive without equalization payments, although maybe your payer countries and not provinces and not have not provinces. I don't know, but God bless you. I really hope. I mean, you got the lady there that got elected premier in Alberta. God bless her. I hope she does well. Saskatchewan, I don't know too much about who your government is now. We give all our money to Quebec. Well, because they're a have-not province, right? Madness. Both and an anti-gun province too, Quebec. So that's truly remarkable. Man, what is it with these live streams? The first one, people got me talking about abortion. The second one, I don't remember, but it was controversial. And now I'm ranting against both the American and Canadian governments. If anyone's like recording this in Ottawa or DC, they're going to be like, we got ourselves the next militia leader. This set out to be talking about guns and such, military surplus rifles. You got me ranting about politics. Oh, yeah, it's all a setup. I knew it. I knew it the whole time. Ban Corbin Dallas from the streams in the future. The guy's he's a glowy. He's trying to set me up to get raided by the RCMP. Oh Lord, you're laughing, but you're on my watch list now. Don't think I don't notice what you're trying to do, Corbin. I'm trying to find a new military surplus rifle to buy, and I don't know what it is. That is a nice watch. Stupidly, I shouldn't have bought this. I wanted a tougher watch for when I do outdoor stuff. And I got it in my head it had to be a G-Shock because it's a good name. I mean, then they're rugged watches. I could have bought a G-Shock for like $100 or something like that. But instead, I convinced myself I need a compass in it, a temperature gauge, and it's got to have times of 58 countries. So I ended up getting a Mudmaster, and it was like, boy, I really wish I hadn't bought this. It's big too. It's a big chunk. I don't know. I almost bought another G-Shock just to like have something a little more rational. But then I was like, well, now you're going to own two watches, and what are you going to do with this one? So, but they're good watches. I was going to do a video on watches, good watches for prepping and all that stuff, because I'm getting more interested in the technological side of prepping, survival techniques, and all that stuff. I used to be one of those guys that really poo-pooed the use of anything that required like a battery or electricity and that stuff to run. And I'm beginning to rethink that now, because you can get battery packs which are like wafer thin, which can contain like 3,000 milliamp hours of battery charging, which for the average cell phone is like what, 70% power. On top of that, a lot of the technology now is like so reliable. It's waterproof, it's more rugged and all that stuff. So I was thinking about maybe doing a video about smart introductions of technology into a survival kit, like a cell phone. Because, it's hard for me to argue with people that they need to know how to use a map and compass
when you can get an absolutely phenomenal mapping application, which does trails and charts where you go and all that stuff, which is always up to date ostensibly, and tell them you shouldn't use that. You should use a map and compass. Yeah, it's a little slower. You have to do your bearings and all that other stuff, and you got to track your position on a map and all that stuff. Use a map and compass. Don't use a cell phone. Like, it's so kind of hard to tell people that. But then the other part of me says, well, they got a point, man. I mean, like, using that kind of technology, it's at least a good kind of like, if that's your primary way of, let's say, land navigation, but you know how to use a map and compass so that you can get a position, just based on, using your compass and a map, great. As long as you know how to do that, and that can be your backstop to your technology. Because I'm going to be honest with you, as much proselytizing as I say about using a map and a compass and that stuff, I use an electronic GPS when I go hunting. It's a Garmin, an eTrex 20, I think it is. It came out years ago, but the battery lasts forever on this thing, and it does everything. Sunrise, sunset times, shows me where everything is. It's got a little screen, like yay big, but it's color, it's got relief, it's got rivers, roads, whatever. It tracks where I go. I can like follow my own path out back again. For all the proselytizing I do about maps and compasses, I have one with me, but I use this Garmin GPS unit. So I'm still going to teach my kids the analog stuff. Good, and they should. I mean, digital technology is great until it stops working. So it's good that they know that stuff. I want a kinetic watch or automatic. Those Citizen Eco drives are fantastic. I got nothing against them. They're fantastic watches. Automatic, I don't know. That's another thing about technology that I was kind of debating in my head about, was like this watch. It has a compass in it, which is one of the primary reasons why I bought it. So I fall down a hill and I lose my compass, I still at least have this to go by, as well as, making compasses out of the environment and being able to roughly determine my direction that way. But I got this. But the batteries on this only last about 3 years. You never know when it's going to die, right? It's not like you write the date of when you last changed the battery and assume that it's going to last the full 3 years. So it's that introduction of technology again. Like, what kind of watch should you bring? Should you use a battery powered watch, or should it be an automatic? I have a Timex here, which doesn't have any of those fancy features, but it's got a 10-year battery life on this. I know, because I bought this watch like 11 years ago. I changed the battery last year on it. A few more features on this thing, and it would be a fine, more than just a field watch. 10-year battery. But this is an exception. 3 years for this one. So again, if you're going to introduce technology into your survival gear, do you use a mechanical watch, or do you go with a featured or feature-filled quartz watch, but the battery is, you never know, right? Because I always say, make sure all your gear is up to snuff before you go out. Does that mean you're going to change the battery in your watch to a new one? I don't think you will. So that's another thing that I'm kind of struggling with in this video, is, trying to square that circle of what kind of technology do you really want to bring in, and how high do you want to go on that technology? Like, if you're going to, rely on a GPS unit, is it going to be a very simple ruggedized one, or are you going to rely on your cell phone, or what is it going to be? I don't know. So I've been trying to like going back and forth in my head about that. Eco drive and no battery change. Yeah, like I said, I love the eco drives. I was actually looking at one last year to buy, but I couldn't justify buying a watch when I already have a couple, and it's just like, it would serve no purpose. But those are good watches too. So one possible remedy for what watch you would employ in a survival kit would be get yourself one of these like um, G-Shocks. Okay, maybe it has some features in it like an altimeter, temperature, compass, direction, whatever it may be, but get one of the solar powered ones. So at least you're not reliant on a battery in order for it to be functional. In theory, as long as you're in sunlight somewhere, your watch is going to get charged. So again, that's another one of those ideas that I've had for my that video of employing technology, where if you're gonna like bring in technology, make sure that it's technology that doesn't have like a huge failure point, like a battery or electricity or environmental concerns. Anyway, that's probably going to come down the line. I'm still kind of like playing around with that one in my head. It might be a while before that one comes out. So, but it's something that I've been thinking about a lot. That maybe I'm being a little luddite-ish when it comes to how I argue or plan for a survival kit. Is that maybe I'm kind of like ignoring some of the good things that technology can bring. You know what? I would rather somebody rely on their cell phone in the woods, a waterproof cell phone. Like virtually all cell phones now seem to be waterproof. That has like simple Google Maps than not having anything. You know, so it's something is better than nothing, right? I don't know. Again, stuff I've been thinking about. So now you know I don't just cough out videos on the spur of the moment. Sometimes these things take months and even years to gestate in my head till I get to a point where I'm actually kind of happy. What up, RNP? I am doing fine. JAC, I hope you are having a great night. Thanks for joining us. Well, I'm old, going to bed. Thanks for the chat. Take care. Comb your hair. Yeah, it is a little messy. Corbin, thanks for coming by, man. It was really cool to have you around. Good luck on the hunt. I hope you get your whitetails, at least one. But if you get both, fantastic. So good luck, and see you on the next live stream, whenever the hell that's going to be. I don't know. But yeah, so that's one of the videos that I've been thinking of is the introduction of modern technology into a survival kit and how it can work where you don't have points of failure. I have 2 videos coming out next week. Just like this week, I had 2 videos. 2 more videos are out on Monday. It's a video on, what the hell is it again? Oh, right. It's a tour of a rifle that I own. It's my CZ457 Bremen MTR. I built it over the summer, and I'm going to do a tour of the rifle because a lot of people have been asking me about what's this part, what's that part, what's this part. I figured I'd just make a video and explain everything, and then now I can just say, look, just watch the video and you'll find out what it is. And then next Friday is going to be the latest edition of Have You Heard About, my short videos that I do recommending another YouTube channel. And I think you guys will like this one. It's a good YouTube channel. Not a lot of subscribers, more than mine, but not a lot of subscribers. And I think you might enjoy it. Just about to kick my night off. Just got back from work. A rough day, but I'm glad for the next couple of days. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you had a bad day or a rough day anyway. I hear you. I had a whole week this week of rough days. So I appreciate that. So have yourself a beer if you're legal anyway. And take it easy. Lie down. I'm still digging the videos. I have been able to chime in due to being super busy at work. The fact that you're watching them is more than enough. I said this on last week's or the stream 2 weeks ago. I don't do this for money because none of my videos are monetized. I don't do sponsorships. I don't ask you for money, super thanks or whatever the hell they call them, or Patreon and that. I don't want any of that shit. I don't do it for views because I don't care if anybody watches the videos. I just do it because I enjoy making videos. But the fact that someone even watches the videos is more than enough. You don't got to thank me or leave a comment or anything like that. The fact they're even watching it makes me happy. It's like I'm kind of proud that somebody would spend some of their valuable time just watching a video that I made. That is super cool to me. You know, I'm a pimple on the ass of YouTube. 2,000 subs, almost 2,100 now. uh, something like 320,000 views across all my videos. Um, it's nothing in YouTube world, but it means a whole hell of a lot to me. So if you don't chime in, that's fine, man. If you watch them, it's means a lot to me. It really does. It's, like I said, I make them for myself, but if other people enjoy them or watch them or even hate watch them, it's still cool. I appreciate that. So there's 2 more videos coming next week for you to either chime in on or not chime in on. It's all good. After that, though, it's hard to get subs on YouTube also. Yeah, there's a lot of choice out there. What makes me different from anyone else who covers guns or Jeeps or fishing or whatever? It's usually personality. And I don't have a great personality, so it's not like I'm going to draw people in that way. I'm not Brandon Herrera or FPS Russia. Well, that's going back. Or Ian McCallum and that stuff. So it's hard to get subscribers unless, there's a compelling reason for a channel to get those subscribers. Like Forgotten Weapons has, 2 million subs now? For a reason. It's because, his videos are fantastic and he knows what he's talking about. Channels like mine, a little more difficult because, you're in a sea. It's called the middle class problem. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of channels, websites, whatever it may be, that get to the middle class where they got a decent number of subscribers, but it's difficult to get into that upper class because you need that kind of differentiating mark to get you into that next level. And I've built websites and other things where I could get them to, a couple of million views a month, which sounds like a lot, but it's not really. But to get them into that next level, that's the difficult part. And it's the same with YouTube channels too. Somebody was telling me on the stream 2 weeks ago that at 2,000 subscribers, I'm in the top 15% of YouTube channels. That blew my mind. Top 15. But when I think about it, there's millions of channels out there that have 1 subscriber. It's the person who owns that channel or their friend, whatever it may be. So it's like, it's difficult. There's actually a a web page which randomly picks a video off YouTube that has no views and you can watch it. And often you will be the first person to ever watch that video. It's hard to get views and it's hard to get subscribers because there's just so much. Millions of hours of videos uploaded every couple of minutes. I appreciate that you are well-rounded in lifestyle. Some of these guys are just personalities. We know we're going to get with them. It's hard for me to denigrate other YouTube video makers. I used to. Like, for a long time, I had a really low opinion of Brandon Herrera. I looked at him as a gun bro. He's got his shtick. He likes AKs, and everything is AKs and all that stuff. And like I said, I looked at him as a gun bro. But then I kind of stopped my knee-jerk old man. Hey, he's just a punk kid with the guns. And I kind of actually started watching his videos and that stuff. And I kind of grew to appreciate what it is that he actually does. First of all, he knows what he's talking about. There's no question about that. He's got a lot of expertise on the subject. So he's not just a personality. But I will grant you, there are people who are just personalities. And I'm not going to name them. I don't want to denigrate anyone. Start a war with a channel 800 times larger than mine and get crushed by his fans or their fans, whoever it may be. Yeah. But I mean, there's also a lot of good information out there too. A lot of people who have fantastic YouTube channels who have personalities but are very well versed in what they do. I stand by my comment. Okay, well, thank you. It's very kind of you to say. I consider myself the least interesting person on the planet. So the fact that 2,000 people even watch the videos is amazing to me. And I also see all the failings in my videos and why I don't necessarily convert subscribers maybe as much as I could. I'm too talky. I notice, I watch some of my videos and man, the introductions are way too long. Like it's like 3 minutes before I get into what it is I'm supposed to do. And they say that you should be 20 seconds in. People should already know the primary thrust of the video. And I'm like, like you couldn't tell from tonight's stream, Mr. Chatty. And I use a script, so I have no excuse. I could easily like make my videos more concise and more on point. So there are a number of things that I see about my videos that I realize there's a good reason why at the moment I have 2,000 subscribers. I shouldn't complain about that because that's fantastic. Top 15% in YouTube, right? If you have 2,000 or more. But I also see things that I don't like about my channel. Why is this light so bright? I look like I'm dead. Good Lord. I wonder if I can turn this somehow and make myself look less corpse-like. If I see everywhere I turn. There you go. I have normal skin tone. I wish I had the talent to make YouTube videos. Why do you think you don't? I'm not trained. I took AV class in high school as a joke because it was an easy class, but that was 35 years ago. We used video cameras with VHS tapes. It's not hard to make YouTube videos, man. Your phone probably has a camera that's, first of all, much better than this webcam I'm using. It probably takes at minimum 1080p, and it probably does pretty damn good job on sound. If not, you can get a lavalier mic that plugs into the USB Type-C port and record audio that way. Software to edit, it's free. You can find it on any platform, Linux, Windows, Mac. You can find fairly easy software to use to make videos. They don't have to be fantastic. They don't have to be like all sparkly and that stuff. Look at mine. Mine are freaking pretty bare bones. There's not much going on in them. You don't see any special effects or anything like that. Occasionally I'll fool around and make stuff that moves on the screen or, overlaid explosions or whatever and that stuff. But I don't tend to do that very often. It's mostly me just trying to learn a new skill. So I just put it in the video. Anytime you see something you haven't seen before in a video, that's me just having learned something and I'm trying to use it in a video so that I can get it in my head. But it doesn't take much to make videos. Honestly, just do it. Just do it. I want to start my own channel. I understand what's involved and I'm definitely not ready. That's cool. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with just making some videos every now and then for your own edification, just to try and kind of like learn on how to make videos, the process behind it, writing a script, filming it, editing it. And then if you don't do anything with it, great, but at least it kind of gets you into that frame, or not frame, but that process map in your head about how to make videos. The gun channels I have disdain for are the ones that just make listicles. Oh God, those are the worst. Yeah, the top 5, whatever, channels where it's all they do. All they do is they steal footage from other channels. They'll steal those lists from a website. They got them robot voices now, which sound so convincing that sometimes I'm fooled into thinking it's an actual person until I hear some weird pronunciation and I realize it's a voice. Oh yeah, those channels are insanity. Yeah, they drive me up a wall. And some of the lists are just so awful. It's unbelievable. Point of Accuracy, the channel that I did have you heard about, did a video a couple of months back reviewing a list of top 22 long rifle chambered rifles to buy. And he was just like losing his mind on some of it. He was just like, why would somebody put this here and this here? I think they like ranked Ruger ahead of Tika or something like that. And he just went nuts. Yeah, those listicle videos are just horrific. But that's the Watch Mojo effect, right? Top 15, whatever, yeah. Those add nothing to it. But they all have 500,000 views. People like lists, I guess. I don't know. Whiskey tube guys use their phones. Why not? My first couple of videos on this channel, please don't watch them, were filmed with a Nokia Lumina or Lumia, whatever they were called, like 900 or something like that. Shit audio. Like sometimes you can barely understand what I'm saying. The video is, but got me learning on how to use, how to frame shots and all that stuff. I wish I could redo the sound for those because some of them are horrific. Please don't watch them. I'm begging you, don't. In fact, maybe I'll unlist them after this stream just so no one can watch them. You have some private videos? Well, good. At least you're doing it, right? Anytime somebody asks a director in Hollywood, how do I make a movie? He says, make a movie. Same with YouTube videos. Just make them, and you're doing that. So that's great. I'm glad to hear that. Holy shit. Have I been on for like 3 hours or 2 hours? Wow. This is the longest stream ever. But yeah, just just make videos, man. Just Jeep guy, just make videos. Pick something you're interested in. Do some research if you have to. Make a video. Boom. That's it. Everyone has the talent to do what I do because I'm literally the least talented human being on the planet. I have 3 skills: heavy drinking, eating, and sleeping. And if I can make videos, I'm pretty sure you know how to make videos. I can show you. Look at that. There's the heavy drinking and eating, so you can tell I'm telling the truth. I haven't had a drink in oh, wait a minute. I had a drink a couple hours ago. All right, scratch that. Anyway. I am probably going to slow down making videos next year, though. I said that I was going to do that this year, and I'm actually on pace to do more videos this year than I did last year. I don't want to get burned out. I don't want to turn this into a job because I don't make money at this by design. This is a hobby. As soon as you get paid for something, it's no longer a hobby, it's a job. I already got one. Pays reasonably well. So maybe next year I might slow down the videos a little bit. I think I'm on pace to do like 70 videos this year. Next year, I'd like to go down to about 45 to 50. So there'll be a couple of weeks, 1 week every month or every other month where I don't do a video. But we'll see. I say that now. And next year, I'll do 80 videos just because I'm a masochist. That's the word I was looking for earlier. A masochist. Oh, hold on. I just got to check something. I know I'm still on camera, but I'm no longer looking at the chat. I just want to check something. Oh man, I'm missing another stream, which I deliberately set out to watch. All right, well, it's gotten quiet there. I guess we're gonna wrap it up. I was only gonna do an hour-long stream, and I'm already up to 2 hours. So awesome. If you missed the first part of it, actually, there should be 2 videos for this stream because the first one got knocked down because of a complaint from someone. So if you missed the early part of the stream, feel free to check them out. They'll be live if they're not already. Thank you very much for everyone who showed up. I don't know what the grand total of viewers was, 10, but whatever. Like I said, I was going to clean my pistol anyway, so this just gave me a chance to occupy myself while I was doing it and chat with some of y'all because I so very rarely get to actually interact with people unless they're leaving comments on the videos. That it's nice to actually talk to people in like a less structured way and just chat and hopefully get to know people a little bit better. Like Corbin Dallas, I know he was on the last stream. Now he's on this one. He was on this one too, so it was cool to talk to him. JAC, Hobo Factory, Eliza was on earlier. I don't know if she was still on. Jeep Guy, Hobo Factory. Anybody else? Am I missing anyone else? And there were some other people who didn't chat. I know because Body Bag. Body Bag was or Bog Body. Sorry, not Body Bag. Bog Body. He was on too. So thank you very much. And I'll try and do these a little more often every now and then. Like I said, I'm such an uninteresting person. I don't like doing live streams because the lack of personality shines through very quickly. So I don't want to bore people. That's why I'm such a success in the dating world too. Well, right on, man. Thanks for the live streams. Are freaking awesome, except mine. I'll probably I will pick another firearm to clean next time during the chat. I don't know what it is. I'll figure something out. At any rate, well, now we're down to 2 people. Everyone's fleeing. So at any rate, it was super nice talking to you, whoever's still here. Thanks for joining me, and have yourself a great weekend. And if you're a veteran, thank you very much for your service. It is more appreciated than you could possibly know. Hobo Factory. So it's Hobo Factory and JHC. Hobo Factory and JHC, thank you very much for sticking it out till the end. Take care, and bye-bye.